Wow, wow, we were. I'm so excited to be here. And today is going to be a very interesting episode of our discussion. But man, what a day it was. Before we get into all that, let's talk about my day. And let's talk about your day. How was your day? Did you have a good day today? Look, I'm tired. All right. We are talking about productivity today, how to be productive working from home. And so I think I'm going to have to take a page out of my own book and do some of the stuff that I'm about to share with you today. So if this is your first time, my name is John Paul. I'm a WooCommerce plugin developer. I also love to write. I love to be a father. And I love my whiskey with 2 ice cubes and a little bit of Coke. That's how I drink it. So whenever we meet and you want to get me a drink, then you know what to get me. You don't have to get me something very expensive. I'm happy with Black Label Johnny Walker. You know, I'm not that fancy. If you want to go a bit more, let's say Dalmore is great. It's a great whiskey. And I love other whiskeys as well. I do love my whiskey. So that's about me. So I'm here because I want to share with you some of the things I've learned about how to get more productive. And I had to learn these tricks because, again, if you are familiar with me, you know that I've had to go through some family court battles, which takes a toll on you, which is a difficult thing to go through, especially as a father. And so you have to balance doing your work with preparing for court. And I chose to represent myself. I got rid of my lawyer because she was just not compatible with who I am, the way I wanted to work. I'm grateful for all what she did for me. At the same time, we're just not compatible. And, we don't need to go into all that today. So, working from home. Why do we want to work from home, and why is it important to be productive when we work from home? So the first thing that comes to mind, of course, is the freedom, not having a boss over your head. So even if you're employed by a company and you're working from home, you don't have somebody walking in, checking on you, telling you what to do. You just feel more free, right? You're in the comfort of your own territory. You are in your own land. When you don't work from home, a lot of times, you may not feel comfortable in the office. You may be a bit tired and you may think, oh, a 15-minute nap would be nice, but you cannot do it because you're in your office, right? You're at work, and in most places you are not allowed to do that. There are a few places where you could do that, but in most you can't. Working from home also often allows you to set your own hours. And if you're starting your own business or you're a freelancer, which is essentially still your own business, then working from home is usually the only reasonable way to expect to get results, because you may not have money yet for an expensive big office and to get done what you need to get done to build your business. So I had to learn the hard way how to get more productive because of all the circumstances surrounding my life. And one of the first things I learned is that if you are not productive, it has a domino effect. Everything starts going wrong all at once. But when you trace your steps back, you realize that what happened was there are certain things you didn't implement, and I'll share the techniques with you. And when you implement those techniques, the opposite happens. Things start going well in like an avalanche. So in a sequence, you get a series of good events happening to you. So what I've learned is when you are productive, you gather momentum, and then everything builds up and you get more done, not just more done, but you get more results. You get more rewards for your work, and you feel more confident about yourself. You feel happier about your work. On the flip side, when you don't get productive, you often end up feeling depressed, you end up feeling like you're missing out on life. You feel like you are left behind, and things are just not right. Your relationships will suffer if you're not productive, right? So the people you care about, they will sense that something is not right with your work life, and it translates to how you relate to them, and then, you know, relationships don't work out as well. On the other hand, when you are productive, you feel a certain freedom when it's your time off work, because you know everything that has to be done has been done, and you can just let go of work and keep going. Which brings us to the first important point, which is, what does it really mean to be productive? So in this context today, what we mean is that you get done each day all that can be done on that day. You get done each day all that can be done that day. You get done each day all that can be done that day. Now, I got that definition from a book called The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles, and that book has helped me through some very tough times. I think I'm gonna do a whole episode, a few, where I show my favorite books and what I learned from them. But I think that's the ultimate definition of productivity. Why? Let's break it down. So you get done each day, right? That means each day that you work, you get things done, right? Which we know doesn't always happen, which is why we are here. But not only that, we do all that can be done. So everything that could have been done, you do it. Which means some things can't be done, right? On the same day. There's some things that are not realistic to expect. So let's start from there. Realistic expectations. I think one of the first things you need to do to get more productive is to accept that some of your work will just not get done. Get real with yourself. Now, you not doing that work may mean horrible consequences for you, right? Sometimes, usually, you can mitigate situations, but sometimes it may mean some bad consequences. But you know in your heart of hearts that you won't do the work. But because you are scared of facing the potential consequences, you pretend to yourself that you're going to do all these things, right? So you have this long to-do list, and you lie to yourself that you'll get all those things done. When in reality, you know you will not get those things done. And what happens? Even the things that you are doing, you get stressed, you can't focus, you can't really put in your best effort, because you know you're not going to do everything on your list. So why not just be honest and say, you know what? I know I'm not going to accomplish this today. I know I'm not going to accomplish this tomorrow, maybe over the next 3 months, right? We all have things we have procrastinated, and we get stressed about it, and it affects the work we do because we are thinking, oh, but I've not done this, I've not done that. And then weeks, months pass by, and you're just stressed. But if you're honest with yourself, you would have let go of it, finished the other stuff, and then you'd have the time and energy to get to the other stuff that you've been procrastinating. And you end up more productive, because being productive is not about just doing as much as possible, because that's not what it is. Just do what can be done. You need to still live a life, right? We all know that there's an apparent limit on our lifetime. So you want to do what you can do and forget the rest. Having said that, don't do less what you can do. Do your best. Do your best. And focus on the moment. Each moment that you are working on, focus on that specific task, right? And that's why it's important to let go of what you know you can't do. Focus on that task, and then do that with your full mind, your full attention. So that was our first point. Let go of the things you know you will not do. Perhaps schedule them into the future where you know you'll be more likely to do them. so that you're not really procrastinating. You're just working with a schedule. It will reduce your stress level and you have more energy and focus for the things that you are able to do on that day. Now, you may have looked on my profile on LinkedIn and you may have seen that I've given myself a 21-day challenge, right? Because I slacked off a bit and I didn't do all the writing that I was supposed to do over the past couple of months. So I need to rebuild my writing habit. So I asked myself, what's a realistic amount or number of words I could do over the next 21 days, right? Because the official internet figure for developing a habit is 21 days. So I asked myself, how many words can I write in 21 days? That makes sense. And I came up with a number of 60,000 words. So I started this 2 days ago. I am a bit behind schedule, but I think I'm around 6,000 something words as of now, over the past couple of days. And I'm gonna keep building it up. So I have a spreadsheet where I keep track of how many words I'm writing each day and how many I've written in total and how many words are remaining to meet my target. It's a very simple spreadsheet. I'm using Google Sheets. I will give you a link so you can look in the description or in the comments, and there will be a link where you can keep track of what I'm doing and you can copy that and use it to track your own thing. But I'm saying this because tracking what you're doing is another way to increase your productivity when you're working from home, right? Because remember, you are your own boss. Even if you're employed by somebody, whilst you're at home, you have to supervise yourself. So how do you know where you are if you don't keep track of it? How do you know where you're going if you don't know where you are, right? So you keep track. It applies to everything. If you want to get fit, you have to track the exercise you are doing. At the very least, the frequency at which you're doing your exercises, right? As a writer, you track the number of words you've written. With coding, it's a bit tricky because sometimes a solution may take fewer lines of code, but a lot of planning, a lot of problem solving, a lot of reading and research. So perhaps you could track that in the amount of time, focused time, that you have put into doing the coding work. But keep track of what you are doing. Keep track of what you are doing, because that will bring you to another important thing, which is the truth. Can you handle the truth? Can you be honest with yourself about what you are doing? Because maybe you are lying to yourself. A lot of people lie to themselves. They claim to be working when they are just wasting time. I've done it. I know you've done it. And I know he's done it. And she's done it. Have you done it? A lot of us have done it, right? We lie to ourselves. And when we lie to ourselves, sooner or later, the truth hits us. And it hits us at a time when we want it to hit us the least. So you have to get honest with yourself. And that's why keeping track tells you what you've really done and what you've not done. And you have your end goal. You know how close you are or how far away you are from that end goal. So that's another productivity secret. Just be honest with yourself. Again, if you will not do something, be honest that you will not do it. If you've not done something, be honest that you've not do it. That you've not done it. And that's where tracking, right? It's a spreadsheet, pen and paper. There is dozens of apps for your phone that will help you to keep track of what you're doing. So be honest with yourself, and that will also get you more productive. Now, there's another aspect that people ignore, which is breaks. People don't take breaks, or they take breaks the wrong way. In fact, they don't structure their works properly. And you have to structure your breaks properly. You have to be intentional about your breaks. right? A break doesn't just mean a pause from the specific task that you're doing. To get a proper break, a proper break, what you need is, first and foremost, to fully engage with the task before you take a break, because that will allow you to have a clear conscience when you're taking a break. Because when we are not fully engaged, that also affects us, right? When we're taking a break, we are always in limbo because you're not fully engaged, you're not really there, so you get, a bit tired from that, and then you take a break and you're like, oh, but I didn't really focus, I didn't really do this and that, I was scrolling a little bit on Instagram, looking at things I shouldn't be looking at, blah blah blah, and then you don't get as productive as you could be, right? So the perfect break means you step away from your working environment if you can, as much as possible. You step away from all screens, and I know nowadays it's a travesty, it's almost impossible to stay away from a screen, and we find so many excuses of why we must scroll on social media. As a side story, I actually went to a supermarket once, and this silly guy behind the counter was checking his Instagram, telling me it's an emergency when he's just looking at memes and nonsense. And he didn't see anything wrong with scrolling on Instagram while he's supposed to serve customers. It's ridiculous where we are today with that. But you don't have to be ridiculous. You can step away from your phone. Yeah, it may ring, right? So make sure you don't have notifications for when there is a meme posted on Facebook or Instagram during your work hours. Your break is not for looking on another screen, because you need to give your eyes a rest. You need to give your brain a rest. Your body needs to refresh itself. So that's very important during a break. Ideally, do something that allows your body to move. Perhaps take a walk, maybe do a little exercise, maybe you do a push-up or two or something, And if you do have to get on the phone, call up somebody who is fun. Have a conversation with someone who makes you laugh, or someone who you can make laugh. Enjoy yourself by relating to somebody else. Don't be staring at the screen, looking at things. Why do you do that to yourself? That's not a break. That's additional strain on your body, making it harder for you to do the work you need to do. And when you're at home, we all know how easy it is to go and sit down on the couch, say, oh, it's just gonna be a minute, right? A few shorts, or the first 5 minutes of a series we like, right? Remember Game of Thrones? And then 3 hours are gone, right? 3 hours is like, whoa, where did my day go? And now you're tired, and it's so hard to get back into it. We've all been there. And there's all sorts of reasons we could rationalize about it. But again, the truth is, regardless of the reason, let's say it's a justified reason, right? If you don't do the work, you won't get the results. If people commiserate with you, give comments, oh yeah, I get it, you have this order, you have this, that, the other, that's why you can't do the work. Okay, here are some meds. Okay, here's the doctor's diagnosis and the prescription. Okay, here is why everything is so bad in your life, there's so many tragedies and you can't get your work done. Oh, sorry. But guess what? Your bank account balance will not improve. So you have to be clear on what you're doing. I think if we are to keep it real, that the true secret to productivity really is making a decision that we'll do it. We have all had periods in our lives where we were set on doing something, right? You decided to do something, you were like, I'm gonna do this, right? Whatever it was, whether to win some kind of competition or get a certain grade or create a project that you really care about, something that you really wanted to do. You didn't need to look up techniques in a self-help book or get a productivity guru to help you. You said you were going to do it and you did it. So if you want the results, you want the rewards, you have to do it. Really, the main truth is you have to decide to do it. Yes, the stuff I'm sharing with you will help you. I think a lot of it will come naturally to you when you decide to really, really, really get into it. Right? So, structure your breaks, but make up your mind that you take your breaks the right way. Sacrifice the social media nonsense, right? Let go of it for some time during your working hours. Let go of anything that distracts you from your work. So one thing I did to help me get more productive, right? When I realized I've been slacking off, was to track almost everything I was doing each hour, right? Or every couple of hours or every few hours for a week. And I did get that idea from several sources, but most recently I was listening to Jim Rohn. You should check out Jim Rohn on YouTube. There's lots of videos. And so tracking my time showed me something that I didn't like. Tracking my time for a week showed me that I watch YouTube too much. That I lose most of my productivity to YouTube videos. There's always that one more video that I want to watch, but that's just one video that ends up being 100. Think about it. If you watch YouTube shorts for 2 hours, which I've done, that's like over 100 videos in 2 hours. That's a lot of content to consume. And when you think about it, if you spend 15 minutes out of those 2 hours doing some kind of work, you're already better off, right? Especially if you choose to do something like creating content, because you probably need content for promoting your work. If you have your own business, even if you outsource it, you still need, to inject your spirit into it. So I tracked my time and I realized that watching YouTube was the biggest source of time wasting in my case. And I realized that I also spent a lot of time just taking care of my home, right? When you deal with children, obviously, loads of cleaning. When you're a single parent, you have those things. And as of now, I don't yet have a butler and maids, which I will probably end up having, God willing. I will. And I don't like, outsiders that are not working for me around my kids. So I couldn't ask somebody that is not really, really close to me to do the work, because I just don't introduce, anyone to my kids. But that was one thing that I realized. So YouTube and then housework. And then I also realized that those things, especially YouTube, drained a lot of my energy, mentally, and then housework physically. So I had to structure my day in a way where I could do those things, little by little, but of course, really cut down on YouTube and read more instead of YouTube, because with reading, obviously you can learn and you can learn things that apply to your work. But just knowing that that's killing my time has helped me to break away from YouTube when I'm watching it. Because I remember like, oh, well, you're killing your time. And I don't want to do that. I want to be more productive. So what I suggest to you is try monitoring what you do with your time for a week. Even if you do it at the end of the day, which is not the best, ideally you do it every hour or every couple of hours, every few hours. Just write down, what did I do the past hour? What did I do the past couple of hours? And so forth. So you could do it at the end of the day, right? If that's when you want to do it, spend a few minutes, write down what you did, including the stuff you were not supposed to do, right? How much time do you estimate you spent on it? And after a week, you will see the places where you need to change things yourself and become more productive. one reason why we need people in the offices in general is because in the office it's difficult to be distracted, and if you do get distracted, usually there's a manager or a boss who comes and says, "Hey, stop the distraction, do your work." Right? We don't like it. I've never liked it, but that's the reason why we have that, right? So people who are not able to discipline themselves will struggle at working from home, because there's no boss, nobody to tell you to stop doing something. You have to be your own boss. You know, we want to be our own boss, but we don't want to act like a boss when necessary, right? But you have to tell yourself that, look, stop this nonsense. Stop this YouTube scrolling nonsense. You have to tell yourself that when necessary. And the other thing that you have to keep in mind is how you start your day makes a big difference. It really, really makes a big difference. So consider building up a routine where you start your day in a way that you can jump into your work fully and refreshed. So whether it's how you eat your breakfast, you know, there's funny videos going around now about morning routines because of one other viral video. But there is something to it, to having a good morning routine. I think part of the reason why the video went viral is people know deep inside that a good morning routine gives you a better day. And when you do start your work, one thing I'm experimenting with is do the hardest part first. Do the part that you want to do the least first. Because that way you can put your best energy into it. And once it's done, it's easier later on, because you've done the hardest part. I think, who was this writer who wrote a book called Eat the Frog or Eat Your Frog or something like that? Was that Steve Covey or something? There was a writer like that. I know Nicholas Cole talks about that as well. And there are many people who talk about that. So it's something I'm experimenting with as well, doing the hardest parts first. And of course, make a list of all the things that need to get done, right? That's not your to-do list. It's just a list of things that need to get done or that you want to get done. And you use that list and then cross out the things you know you will not do, like you spoke in the beginning. Schedule the things that you know you will do in the future. Choose the things that bring you closer to your goal, right? So if you're planning to make more money, learning about accounting, except if you're an accountant and you have to improve your skill, will not make you more money, right? So you of course you do need to schedule time for that, but prioritize the things that bring you closer to your goals. So those are the things we have time for. Send me your questions. As I said, I will share the link to my spreadsheet so you can encourage me or discourage me. Either way works for me. On my quest to write 60,000 words in the next 21 days. You can reach me on LinkedIn. If you're watching this on LinkedIn or on YouTube, there should be a link to me. If you need to reach me via the support desk, reach support.wpcava.com. So that is support.wpcava.com. If you need a WooCommerce plugin or something's not working in your integrations, get in touch with me. I like to solve the most difficult problems when it comes to coding and WooCommerce. Excuse me, so get in touch with me and get productive. Apply the stuff you've learned here. Do it for yourself. Do it for your family. Give yourself a better life. Give a better life to the people you love. So, yeah. On that note, I hope to see you again next week. I'm going to come back and do another live for you. I really hope you enjoyed this one. I surely enjoyed talking to you and sharing this stuff with you. I'm going to keep improving the show, building up the show. So if you have any ideas that will help, let me know. And, don't be a stranger. get in touch. Write to me, send me a message, put a comment, tell me you love me, tell me you hate me. Express your mind. And remember, get productive, get your work done. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next week. Bye, 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 bye.